pleased also to be rejoined by Dr. Walid Phares. Dr. Phares, we heard earlier again General Valley saying that certain people are prepared to let Kobani fall. Talk about the repercussions of not just a town like Kobani falling, but also some of the other places where Christian populations have been persecuted, and what the long-term impact that could be on the region.
Absolutely, John. Actually, in northern Iraq, we have a dramatic situation whereby more than 500,000 of Christians, Assyrians, Syria, Chaldeans, and also Yazidis are in a state of refugees inside Kurdistan. They have no help. They have not been helped to go back to their areas in the Nineveh Plain, south of Kurdistan, or in Sinjar area. So that would be a priority for the United States to engage in, along with their allies, that to push back ISIS, along with the Kurds who can help, arm the Christians and the Yazidis, or to form their police forces and then go back to their areas, because the fall is about to end and you're going to have the winter and a tragedy is going to happen. We don't want to remove those people from Iraq, as some people are suggesting. We want them to stay there, go back home. That would be a priority. Unfortunately, the administration is not putting its weight to solve this problem.
Well, the Pope actually deemed military action appropriate in battling ISIS, which gives us an idea of the magnitude of this situation. What do you think the reaction to that has been in the region?
Look, because ISIS has become an enemy to not just the Christians or the Yazidis or the non-Arab minorities such as the Kurds, but to also Arab Shia and Arab Sunni moderates. This is an enemy to everybody. That's why the Pope, I guess, understood from his advisors that he can make such a statement, because he will have all the moderates with him to push back. But at the same time, what needs to be understood is that there are other minorities. We need to be preemptive this time. In Syria, to answer your previous question one more time, there is a whole area in the northeastern part with Kurds and with Christians and with Arab Sunni moderates. They will be targeted by ISIS. So now is the time for the international community to go and help them, because once ISIS comes, and then we're going to ask the question, what can be done? Now is the time to help them.
Now, do you agree with Tony Perkins? They should be evacuated from these areas, and if so, where would they go? We know we've seen hundreds of thousands of refugees flee over the border into Turkey already, into Jordan as well. Where would these folks be able to go if we can't build a wall around these cities?
I disagree that we need to remove those Christians and other minorities from Iraq or from Syria. What we need to do is bring them back to their own homes. Their homes, their villages, their areas are partially liberated by the Kurdish militias, by the Peshmerga in Iraq. What we need to do is just push a little bit more before going to Mosul and secure them, send them an international protection force, train them to defend themselves. Because if we're going to continue to remove these minorities, then ISIS will be winning at the end of the day. What ISIS wants is an area free from Christians and Kurds and minorities and Jews and everybody who does not agree with them.
Now, as we look ahead to what could potentially happen with Kobani, the possible fall there, I wanted to also look back real quickly at what took place. We were showing some video of the airlift operations in Mount Sinjar with the Yazidis. We've also heard reports of some of these women who escaped ISIS slavery, there's no better word for it, are just giving us these heart-wrenching stories. But what can you tell us? We're starting to learn a little bit more about what could happen to Kobani based on what happened to the Yazidis. Tell us, Dr. Phares, and what you're hearing on some of these tragic stories about the Yazidis.
I have heard from the Yazidi women themselves. I'm talking about weeks ago through the Yazidi NGOs. I mean, there were women, Yazidi women in slavery, as you just said, in various areas in Iraq. We were on the phone with them before their cell phones stopped working. We heard horror stories. I mean, their stories are not even heard in the West. When some of them have been able to escape, then now we're hearing more, and we're going to hear probably more as time will develop. We need to be preventive. In Kobani, for example, we do have ways. We have those kind of planes that can stop the ISIS from moving inside. We need to have an airlift into Kobani, and we need to be always preemptive. That is going to happen to other cities. So my concern is that we are reacting to those events, and we're not prepared ourselves. We are not preparing ourselves for these events.
Yeah, perhaps the need for more proactive military operations, at least humanitarian ones, with the military. Dr. Walid Phares, always great to talk to you, sir, and we look forward to having you back very soon.
Thank you, John.
All right, we're going to continue our conversation. We're going to talk about politics in New England right after this commercial break.